Yo, Shortbox Nation, this is Botter, and I'm here to tell you right now that con season starts early this year with the return of Northeast Florida's premier anime, comic book, and sci-fi event, Collective Con. That's right, Northeast Florida's largest pop culture convention returns for its 10th year on March 8th through the 10th at the Prime Osborne Center in Jacksonville, Florida. 10 years of Collective Con, they're pulling all the stops out to make sure this is a can't-miss event. And the guest list they got going, don't even get me started on the guest list. I mean, they've got A-list celebrity guests and voice actors from some of your favorite movies, anime, and video games like Elijah Wood and Sean Ashton, Ray Park, Trisha Helfer, Ross Marquand, Max Middleman, and Bo-Katan herself will be there, Katie Sackhoff. Tell me what other convention is giving you the opportunity to meet Frodo and Sam from Lord of the Rings, Darth Maul, and One Punch Man all under the same roof. Only at Collective Con. And if you're looking to get some of your favorite comics signed, or if you want to get an original sketch from some of the best comic artists in the world, well, you're in luck, because there'll be plenty of comic and creator guests there, like DC comic artist extraordinaire Clay Mann, Harvey Award-nominated illustrator John Taylor Christopher, Marvel and DC cover artist Chris Stevens, and acclaimed Star Wars author Timothy Zahn. They'll all be at Collective Con this year. And if you're looking to bring the family, or if you want to make a weekend out of it, you're in luck, because there'll be so much going on at Collective Con that weekend in the form of vendors, fan panels, video game tournaments, cosplay contests, after parties, and a bunch of fan events. You can purchase single and 3-day weekend passes now using the link in this episode's show notes, or by going to collectivecon.com to book your tickets and hotel. Buy your tickets now, and I'll see you at Collective Con, March 8th through the 10th. Now let's start the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Shortbox Podcast.
The Shortbox Podcast is recorded live from Jacksonville, Florida. Grocery store game show now. That's the vibe that I was going for. That we were going
That's
for.
The vibe you got? Shit, I got 1970s New York drug dealer.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I got some like
I got Miami Vice,
like blaxploitation, like end credits.
Thank you, Ed. Look, I want to watch Black Caesar. I want to watch Superfly. I want to watch Foxy Brown or Coffee.
I want to play Grand Theft Auto Vice City now for sure. And
get out of here, you rube.
So yeah, that's the new intro.
Only Ed and I could talk.
Yeah, let's watch some Dolomite. Let's get out of here.
What about me, guys? I like expectation.
Get him.
All right. With that being said, now that we set the mood, let's go ahead and get into this. Yo, Shortbox Nation, welcome back to the show. I hope you noticed and enjoyed the new theme song done by our boy Mecha the Marvelous, because you'll be hearing a lot more of it every episode this season. And if you're tuning in for the first time, thanks for pressing play and welcome to the best comic book podcast this side of the moon. My name is Botter Milligan, and today we're discussing Marvel's mercenary turned midnight stalker, the Fist of Khonshu himself. We're talking about Moon Knight this episode.
Nice. Nicely done. That was good.
Thank you so much. See, I appreciate that.
That's about as far as I get.
That's the one compliment C Daddy's giving us today.
That's all you get.
Moon Knight is a character dating back to 1975 when writer Doug Minch and artist Don Perlin created the character for the pages of Werewolf by Night, number 32 at that, of all places. But Moon Knight will be arriving in his first live-action adaptation this week with his own 6-episode Disney Plus series starring Oscar Isaac as the titular character, alongside Ethan Hawke and a few others. But before we get ahead of ourselves, allow me to introduce my co-host and the rest of today's panel. Sitting in the studio for me is your favorite art-making guy on mic number 2. It's Edmund Danzart.
Hey.
What up, Ed? Ed, you took today's wardrobe assignment to the fullest. You even brought the backwards all white hat.
Yeah,
you're a brave man. Only the classiest and bravest men can rock an all white
dad hat. Yeah.
All right. Next up on the mic, he's back with us today and calling in from an igloo because he's cooler than a motherfucking polar bear's toenail. Wow. It's Cesar Cordero, ladies and gents.
Hey.
That is somehow strangely offensive.
Even my compliments sound like jabs. That's the type of environment we have here at the Shortbox, ladies and gents.
It's always a boxing match with you.
All right, and last but not least, she's also joining us via video. She's Shortbox royalty, worthy of being mummified herself.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Ashley Lanning White.
Hey, hi.
What the fuck does that mean?
Could have went with an Egyptian goddess type of thing.
Well, I mean, the royalty was only mummified, so
Hold
Ashley.
on. Ed, get him a shovel. Get him a shovel, Ed.
Whatever, man. I'm pretty proud of that one in the script, right?
Potter's like, look, I gotta punch up this fucking script all by myself.
I thought
I had no help.
All right, I will say, we're looking pretty good in all white. I know. Certain listeners can't see us, but our patrons.
We're looking very Backstreet Boys, 1997.
Yo, well said.
The Millennium album.
We look like we're recording live from Puff Daddy's all white party. If you're a Patreon subscriber, you get to watch the behind the scenes video and see our matching wardrobe. We decided to wear all white, considering the today's theme. And we delivered, man. Ed's got the backwards all white hat. Mm-hmm. C's got, I didn't even know it was possible for a 40-year-old man to rock an all white hoodie like that. But yo, he's
it's
he's
definitely possible. And if you're 40, it's definitely possible.
Ashley, I see she's got the chain out today, in honor of Khonshu. I see it.
Mm-hmm. Kind of look like a moon.
Is that a
so
moon?
I put it on.
Oh,
yes.
Full moon.
Wow, look at us.
I went the extra mile, guys.
Damn.
It's just like I murdered someone with this.
Oh, Ashley. That's the thing. We're always like, oh, Ashley, but really it's like there's a detective looking for Ashley Lanning White.
There are so many red flags. And we're like, oh, Ashley. Oh, mercenary Ashley.
Since we are recording this episode via video, we'll drop the full video version on our YouTube, and our Patreon subscribers, of course, will have first dibs before everyone else. So if you're listening, consider supporting the show and becoming a Patreon subscriber for all kinds of perks and rewards. There's a link in this episode's show notes to do just that. And I also want to go ahead and welcome our newest Patreon subscriber. He joined today. I got the notification. So let's go ahead and prepare a warm round of applause and welcome to Brandon Hillsman for becoming our newest Patreon subscriber.
Money.
Welcome, Brandon. And welcome Brandon's money. Let's welcome Brandon's money to the club.
Yes.
Hi, Brandon's money.
Thank you, Brandon's money.
Brandon, you just made the best decision you'll probably make, all year, if not your whole life. So
it's a fine investment.
Your whole life.
For sure. Brandon, you'll have access to, of course, this behind-the-scenes video and extended versions of all of our weekly shows. And you'll be able to vote on the topics we cover, just like our existing Patreon subscribers did for today's episode. Earlier this month, our Patreon subscribers had a chance to vote for the comic spotlight that would coincide with the upcoming Moon Knight Disney Plus series, which brings us to the main event. For the next couple of minutes, we'll be talking about the 2014 Moon Knight series to see if it gets the short box stamp of approval. All right, we don't give that approval out to everything. Actually, we do, but we'll see if Moon Knight is among those ranks.
Shameless.
And we're also going to see how it might tie into the new series. Before we do just that, C Daddy, you care to set the stage for our listeners?
I would not mind at all to set the stage. So, okay. So if you aren't familiar with Moon Knight, I'm going to try and break down some stuff on a general basis, but also give you a little bit of what we're talking about today. So Warren Ellis is a very prolific writer, and Declan Shelvey did the first 6 issues of the series we're talking about. He's the artist. And all this has been kind of collected inside of a trade called From the Dead. So if you're interested, it's out there. It's really good. The series sort of came out after a short year hiatus from the character and kind of was welcomed as fans like a fresh start. Like if you'd never or if you had read Moon Knight in the past, it's kind of like, this ain't your grandpa's Moon Knight, which probably is an accurate statement considering how old he is. New readers could easily jump into the series with no prior knowledge. So that's good. And Warren Ellis kind of sums up everything you need to know as far as the character in the prologue. And it runs a little something like this. Mercenary Mark Spector died in Egypt under a statue of the ancient deity Khonshu. He returned to life in the shadow of the moon god and wore basically his aspect to fight crime for his own redemption. And he went completely insane and disappeared, and this is what happened next. So they're basically kind of bringing back Moon Knight, and this might be the sort of Moon Knight we'll see in the Disney series, sort of like the Moon Knight with dissociative identity disorder. He's essentially a U.S. Marine with a stellar military service record who got his hands dirty after he got out of the service, doing mercenary work. And it's sort of like a reap what you sow thing, right? Like he got blood on his hands, and the moment it's kind of poetic, the moment he starts feeling sort of like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, that it bites him in the ass and he ends up getting, killed as a result. But it's interesting that he gets brought back, and this God sort of like says, look, I'm going to give you a shot at redemption, but you're my avatar here on Earth. Weird character, very weird character, very fringy.
I wonder if Mr. McFarlane got some ideas from this origin story.
You don't say. You don't say. Instead of making him Jewish, he's going to be black and, just black and not Jewish.
Going the real devil, not some fake Egyptian crap.
Are you guys talking about someone that rhymes with the word prawn?
Prawn.
Right.
No, see, I think that was a good intro.
Yeah. Well, thanks for writing it for me.
Yeah. Mine.
I thought it sounded oddly familiar. Sticking to the topic of this 2014 series, I'll go to Ashley. Ashley, how did it sit with you? Did you like it? Have you read it before?
I'm a fan of Warren Ellis. I'd never read Moon Knight before, so I think I read the first couple issues and kind of dropped off. So this is the first time that I've read like this whole like 6-issue run. It was really quick. Like it was really like fast read. It was really entertaining. It was maybe just all I knew about Moon Knight was like all of Shaggy Black's Instagram posts.
Oh,
yes.
I'm glad you
That's
brought
all I
that
knew
up.
of Moon Knight.
Yeah.
So it was more violent than I thought it was going to be. But overall, I liked it a lot.
I'm glad you brought up Shaggy Black and his knack for posting those Moon Knight memes. And for anyone that's not familiar, there is a Facebook page dedicated to sharing and really like shit posts of Moon Knight panels, and it's called Moon Knight Core. That Facebook group page has like I think over like 50,000 followers, but that's where you see a lot of like the Moon Knight memes and whatnot come from. Ashley, I'll go ahead and say that reading Warren Ellis's interpretation of the character is not that far off from the memes that you see, like really witty, hyper violent like statement, his like, penchant for like violence. To me, it was like, oh, the meme's not too far off.
Yo, this is Botter. Sorry for interrupting this episode, but I'll keep it brief. I wanted to let you know about a massive sale we have going on over at the Shortbox store on all of our merchandise and apparel. That's theshortboxstore.bigcartel.com. You can now save 20% off your entire order using the discount code YOO, Y-O-O. So if you've been waiting for the right time to finally buy that gauntlet snapback, or if you ever wanted to buy any of the shirts you see me wear on the podcast, well, now's your chance to get them for a steal. We still have a few sizes left of everything, but they won't last long, and once they're gone, they are gone. And then I mentioned that all of our apparel is screen printed on high quality material. None of that heat transfer or direct to garment stuff. Our shirts are some of the most comfortable ones you'll ever wear, and the hats look even better in person. So wear your support for the Shortbox Nation proudly, knowing that you're going to look damn good doing it. Get to theshortboxstore.bigcartel.com as soon as you can, and don't forget to use that discount code YOO, Y-O-O, to save 20% off your entire order. All of this information can be found in this episode's show notes if you want to get there faster. Thanks for not pressing fast forward. Now back to the show.
Yeah, minus all like the ketamine that I always saw in all those. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Ed, what about you, man? What are some words you'd use to describe the issues you read?
Like I said, I don't know if I was at the shop or not when this came out. I don't think I was, but I did get the trade when it came out. I think I was, because that's when that whole Marvel Now thing they were launching back in 2014.
Yep.
That I think this is one of the few things that people liked from that. But yeah, I'm like Ashley, I'm a big Warren Ellis fan, and I like the way he, like you said earlier, like how he just kind of, even if you're brand new to the character, that first 2 pages, it's like, okay.
Yep.
Like with the, what's her name? Joy Mercado, who's like a Moon Knight character. She was like actually a reporter in Moon Knight and kind of went to the Spider-Man series. But just even using her from like a 1983, almost, tertiary character, just even bringing her back and even mentioning some of the previous volumes, like cutting the guy's face off. Bushmaster, I think.
Bushman. I think you mean Bushman, right?
Yeah, I think that was Bendis's run on it when he was like just an LA producer. He was like in LA.
And Alex Maleev was the
so he was kind of hallucinating that he was helping Captain America, Wolverine, and Spider-Man, or I think that was, I hadn't read it, but that was the gist. But
those were his personalities.
Yeah, they did mention those things while she was given the rundown of him. So it's cool that he even like ties back the, previous stories, even though this is still considered, like a refresh, a reboot of the character. Yeah. But I love the series. I liked it because, standalone, basically you get the idea what's going on. He fights the bad guy and, great. Next story. So you could jump on at any time. It's really accessible and easy to read.
Yeah, well said. And I wanted to highlight that the first, 6 issues, which is all that Warren Ellis and Declan Shalvey ended up, doing together before they left, which I think is where I originally departed from the series too, because it was like, who's going to follow up to this? Like, there ain't no following up to this. But those first 6 issues kind of read like an anthology series. Every issue doesn't necessarily connect to the previous one, but you get a different story in this new kind of Moon Knight lore. Whether you're being introduced to a Mr. Knight or a new personality that they've established, like every story, like you said, kind of stands alone. Like you had that first issue, Moon Knight deals with a ex-SHIELD agent turned New York City slasher. The issue after that was more of like an espionage approach with the disgruntled assassin, and then another issue which reminded me of like early 2000 Cesar found Moon Knight fighting punk rock ghosts.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was a good ass issue. With all that said, I wanted to hear, maybe C, you can kick us off, but I wanted to hear, what was your favorite issue of the 6 that you read? Of all of them being different, was there one that really stood out?
Honestly, the initial issue where you see Mr. Knight, because, Botter and I think you and I, we sort of talked about this where Moon Knight and I don't know, do you want to get into this now about Moon Knight and Batman?
Let's save that for later on. Let's save that for here in a few.
I can save it. All right. So yes. So the initial issue where Mr. Knight sort of shows up in broad daylight with that nice, sort of crazy ice cream colored suit. And he just is like, hey, what do we got here? And he's like, what? Cops are like, what is happening with this guy? Who is this dude? And to be honest, I think I wasn't really familiar with Declan Shalvey's artwork. So reading this for the first time, and I read this like a few months back, I was like, whoa, okay, like this gives me a weird pull here, guys, but go with me. Do you guys read Parker?
Oh, hell yeah.
Cook?
By Darwin Cook, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I see some Darwin Cook for sure, yeah.
It gives me that sort of that vibe, right? Like the sort of like gritty crime, sort of pulp hero, I guess sort of aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm a sucker for that anytime, and clearly. So that's pretty much what stuck out to me the most, and especially when he's dealing with that disgruntled SHIELD agent, and the guy's like, "Oh, is now you're going to tell me about your plan to take me down or whatever?" He's like, "Plan?
I already did it.
No, I already did it. Like you were talking this whole time. I already took you."
That
down.
was so clever
cool.
Because when you go back and read it, when you see like his first, when you see like the monstrosity, that weird cyborg body he is, you see the crescent in the box that he threw it in. You actually see it on there. So, but you don't see it because basically he did that because they established that it's a noisy room, and then Eddie tossed his weapon, so he basically ricocheted off the wall into his, whatever that little computer gizmo is. But I really, to kind of piggyback off that, the choice of making it like completely white, like not even any like shadow or discoloration, like it exists in this real world, but it's like this is like an uncolored aha video guy. He's just plain white, like in a white car. I thought that was such a good choice, just because it really pops out of the page, and like not even adding shadow or anything. But that was such a cool idea. I don't know if it was the colorist's idea.
Jordi Belair did the coloring, I think. And I think Declan Shalvey's like her husband or boyfriend, so...
What?
I'm wondering if he was just like, "Hey, babe, like, leave this white." You know what I mean?
I don't know if he sounds like that.
Is he like Will Arnett from Hot Rod?
He sounds like the most Irish person ever. It's like,
I can't do an Irish
oh,
accent.
this is my boy
so that's how he
Declan.
sounds. Yeah, he's like, "Hey, babe, don't touch
Hold
that."
on. I've got a perfectly non-racist Irish accent. You guys ready for this?
Sure it was, Moon Knight. Sure it was.
Make sure you leave it white there, Loss.
And there goes all of our listenership in Ireland. and
Everyone
Scotland.
in
Our
Ireland.
Ireland fan
Thank
base
you.
has left us.
Thank you. Ashley, did you have a favorite issue?
I did like the punk rock ghost one, but honestly, any panel where it showed his father, like not his father, but like
Khonshu. Khonshu?
Yeah, the deity.
the deity.
Mhm.
Because didn't he call him son
This is
or
my
something?
son.
Yeah.
You're
so
my
every
son.
time it showed him with like that big beak and those were my favorite panels.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am curious how this show is going to interpret like Khonshu, if we'll have any moments of like Khonshu in some form speaking to Oscar.
Well, if it's anything like the comic, modern Moon Knight, it will be along the lines of surrealistic, right? Like it'll be like, is this for real or is this not happening? Like, ooh, so they can take as many artistic liberties as they want.
Yeah. I think it'll be like a Psycho thing where it's like a
A voice in
statue
his head.
and it's like a voice in his head, but you don't know. And maybe there's a reveal at the end, at the end of the series.
Yeah, they'll probably throw nerds like us a bone and show like that big ass
A bird.
skeleton bird head.
The bird
and
skull will
just-
be hanging on the wall in the background.
My son.
35 Easter eggs you didn't see in Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's like a new Rockstars video out there for like an hour of all the Easter eggs.
Issue 5 was probably my favorite one. The one that was like basically a giant homage to the Raid movie.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that one was awesome. I think in addition to the trippy mushroom dream sequence in issue 4,
That's my favorite.
Shelby
Yeah, that's a good one.
in issue 5, I think Shelby is flexing his artistic muscles in that issue 5 with the whole fight sequence. I mean, it's got over the top action,
Yeah.
plenty of comic book violence. You guys know I love comic book violence.
You like violence, period.
True, you're right. It doesn't. I need to stop discriminating. I love all types of violence. And sequencing, man. I think the sequence of events and the way like the flow of that particular issue, it was good enough to where it would warrant Shelby and Ellis to get a gig at Hollywood directing any big blockbuster
That'd
movie.
be cool if they threw something like that in.
That was awesome.
One of my favorite things is when he goes to sleep as Mr. Knight and then in the dreams he's Moon Knight, which I think was a cool touch. And when he wakes up and realizes what's going on and just beats the shit out of that guy, he's like grabs him by the desk.
Are you talking issue 4?
Yeah,
the
mushroom one.
Yeah.
He just beats his ass
Yeah.
before telling him what's going on. And then, that was like a cool, like kind of Edgar Allan Poe-ish kind of reveal at the end there.
Yeah. And that's something I'll say about the endings for, I think, all of these issues. They felt like abrupt mic drops. Like I never felt like I was robbed of a, decent ending. If anything, it made me wish they would have maybe made certain issues 2-parters, but every single one just felt like a mic drop. Like like that dream sequence one was like, oh shit.
Yeah,
what else is going on?
there's no epilogues. It's like once the threat is done, the issue ends. There's no, after events.
This whole comic book series sort of felt like a storyboard for a movie that just never came out.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
a
you
good
could this could be a storyboard for the series. I'd love to see that fight scene as like a kind of like a one-shot fight scene, like that Daredevil scene, or like the in Tony Jaa, the Protector, when he's walking up the stairs. It's like a
Tony
one-shot.
Jaa. God damn.
That would be a really cool scene.
We brought up a few times how comic books and a storyboard for a movie are very similar. I think this particular series, these particular 6-issue series, I think definitely exemplifies that. Some of the best, which I think makes it harder once Brian Wood takes over, because Brian, like I said, Warren Ellis and Declan Shelby did the first 6 issues and they bounced. It was like we told the story we wanted. We're on to other things. I think to me, it set the bar really high for like Brian Wood and even Greg Smallwood, who I didn't know did the art following up. They tell more of like a linear narrative, and there's an overarching theme. After reading those first 6 issues, I just wanted more of that. Just seeing like more of these different kind of stories and one-offs.
That's one of the big appeals, and that's why this is something I would recommend, because of its accessibility and the way the stories are pretty cut and dry, straightforward, beginning, end. No filler, no fluff. It's good. kind of quick, but I think if you're going to introduce someone to a new character, if you're going to refresh a character, this is a good way to do it.
Oh yeah, it doesn't get bogged down by any like old canon or continuity that
There's
happened.
2 or 3 word balloons of like some previous things. Yep. It's like a 1-word balloon with his origin. Mm-hmm. Done. Now we can move on.
Ashley, what did you think about like Declan Shelby's like approach to the art and like composition? Because that was something I highlighted here, was that his use of panels and the way he would play around with like the panels and then negative space, like blending in with like Moon Knight's cape, was like really striking and some of my favorite aspects. What did you think about the art direction overall?
Overall, I wouldn't say that I'm not a fan of his art. I think I'm just not a fan of like his faces. Like his facial expressions and stuff, it just don't really do anything for me. But you're right, like his composition and his movement in his panels and his characters is like off the charts, like some of the best out there.
But it is sort of an abrasive style, right? Like it's kind of unrefined, and you don't know if that's intentional or if that's more or less like where they're at. I don't know, man. Like, it's weird. Like, it seems kind of unfinished, and that might be good for the comic. Maybe it ties into that same kind of like hardcore, gritty crime novel feel if you have sort of an art that looks kind of raw and unfinished.
Yeah, it fits the mood of the
exactly.
story.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah. Because a lot of it takes place in like seedy underground, like New York City sewers and broken down houses and shit like that.
Places the Ninja Turtles wouldn't even go.
Yeah, Leonardo's like, I don't know about this, guys. Something that I think C had highlighted in the beginning was that this series was responsible for resetting the character.
It was a reboot.
Yeah, a soft reboot, in my opinion. Well, medium reboot. Don't lick your lips when I say reboot.
Soft reboot, yeah.
Damn it. See, Daddy's back at it again. One thing that Warren Ellis was able to do with this series that, we're seeing still kind of continued on even to this day, and also what we'll probably see in this live action, was that, Warren Ellis brings us not really 3, but at least 2 new personalities added to the Moon Knight lore. Ed, what did you think about Mr. Knight in particular, since we will be seeing him for sure in the live action?
I love that design, that all white. Like I said, the coloring has a big part to do with it. I think just having him as just a bright, solid, uncolored white, like, really pops off the pages. I love the design. And in that scene where he's going up the stairs, I love you actually see, like, okay, the jacket's coming off. He's rolling up the sleeves. He's got the vest. It's like, it's a really cool design. It's so simple. It's just a 3-piece suit and a white hood with a crescent on it. But man, it looks sharp.
That looks like a Ed profile picture. That's what I like about Mr. Knight. It's like, I think that's why he likes Mr. Knight, because Ed fucking cleans up nice. I've seen his face.
Not wearing a white suit though. Not as
Ed'll
as much as I eat and as how messy I am. Yeah, that suit's gonna look horrible.
Don't let him fool you, listeners. Don't let him fool you. He'll put out a fucking single button. Suit with the skinny tie, and he puts.
I don't
on
fit
the
in
fucking,
those suits anymore, so I don't know.
Whatever, dude.
COVID-20 claimed another victim. Damn it. Now, if I try to wear an all-white suit, I don't care where I'm at. I'd get spaghetti sauce on it some way. I could be
mustard stains just magically appear on it.
God, you're a child.
I know. I admit it.
Ashley, wait. What is your favorite incarnation of Moon Knight?
I mean, it would be Mr. Knight. And I do hope that I did appreciate everyone being like, dude, why are you wearing all white?
Because I want them to see me. Yeah. That's the idea.
But it's like you're gonna get stains. Like,
yeah, it's like, I'm talking more about the stains, man. That's
like, yeah, that's what I meant. Like, they kept talking about
dry
that,
cleaning
and I kept
bill,
thinking, like you're gonna get that dirty, bud.
But he never got stains on him.
Bro, you're going in the New York sewer. You know, like what is down there.
He went
right?
in a sewer and he killed like 20 dudes, and he didn't stain that suit.
Look, fun fact: Khonshu is also the god of stain removal.
No, dude, it's like Shield Scotch Guard, some kind of next level
Egyptian
It's just
Scotch Guard.
Slides right off.
You're saying he's rocking Egyptian cotton. That's what he's got. He's got the Egyptian cotton.
Oh my god. Yeah, like the villains are like, Moon Knight, I will destroy you. Also, what is the thread count on that jacket, sir? That is delicious.
Is delightful. Oh, you must tell me. You must give me your tailor.
I challenge our listeners to tell me someone more fashionable than Mr. Knight. I think Mr. Knight might be the most fashionable or vigilante in comic books, and I challenge our listeners
and
to.
He's got an all-white limo. That's
yeah, and he's the most baller. All right,
Yeah.
so
he's just rolling up
It's
the
probably
places.
like a Ralph Lauren suit too.
All right, I should have warned the listeners we were definitely going to spend 30 minutes over analyzing the material and handling and care of Mr. Knight's
Look,
suit.
I'm here for it.
Me too.
Yeah. I wish he had a tailor that was in the
Man, what?
in the
Show
in
me the
comic.
tailor. Like, but you know what? Smart man doesn't give up.
It's probably one of his personalities.
So interesting.
He's Alfred Pennyworth. His other personality.
So if he needs something
He's
done, he
everyone.
can just create a new personality for it. Khonshu can just,
That's a good point.
I'm not going to hire somebody. I'm just going to give you a new personality and break your brain even more.
I love the all white costume because it makes sense for him. He's basically dressed up in priestly garb. Like if somebody was to look at him and be like, "Dude, that's a weird superhero outfit," he'd be like, "Superhero outfit? These are my vestments. Like I represent the moon god."
The Fist of
That's what
Khonshu, bro.
Exactly right. Like if you looked at Batman, you're like, "Why do you have a little symbol on your chest?" That makes I don't understand what the sense is behind that. Branding?
Merchandising. Oh,
You
yeah.
know, like what's going on? You know, and why is your underwear outside your clothes? It's bizarre. You know, like everything with Moon Knight makes complete sense. You know, right down to the hood and covering his face, and it's all there.
And he's also got the blanket excuse of, "Bro, I am literally crazy. I will beat the shit out of all of you." You know,
I'll kill you.
No
I don't
joke.
care about killing anybody. No reservations.
Just like Ashley.
Yep.
yeah, exactly. Yo, shit. Moon Knight's scared of Ashley. Moon Knight's not getting on Ashley's side, a bad side.
It's because she's a fucking serial killer.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
One day the authorities will listen to our will listen to us.
All the red flags of the Short Box podcast.
All this audio evidence.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I'm
look,
gonna get subpoenaed for this. This is gonna suck.
I think we can get to that part that C brought up earlier, since we are kind of comparing him to Batman. You know, no surprise, but Moon Knight has historically been compared to Batman by many comic fans. I mean, it's not a baseless comparison, right? Both Moon Knight and the Dark Knight are wealthy, normal humans who fight crime with detective skills. They got cover identities, they got high-tech gadgetry, et cetera, et cetera. But I wanted to know what was your personal thoughts on the similarities and difference. Like, do you think Moon Knight is a unique character?
I mean, in comics, is there really, how many unique characters are there really? There's so many like analogs of other characters, like, you know.
Have you heard of the Marvel Universe?
Yeah,
Come
Marvel
on, man.
and DC. There's their Quicksilver. There's their Flash. I mean, there's always traits are taken from other. But I think what makes Moon Knight kind of an original hero is even his weird origins. Is basically he was a folly to a werewolf by night, where he's like, let's make a moon guy, and he has silver bullets and what do werewolves don't like? The moon.
His first appearance, he was just hired as literally just a mercenary, and they gave him the suit. Like
he's kind of like that Boba Fett thing where he looked cool and people liked him. It's like, man, this guy looks cool. Let's do more stuff with him.
He
looks awesome.
It did take 5 years for him to get his own series after his first appearance.
Yeah, but outside of the being rich and having gadgets, there's really the comparisons to me drop off from there.
Agreed.
You know, like Mark Spector was seemingly never really a good guy. You know, he's maybe in the Marines, maybe before the Marines, but he went from the Marines to, you know, killing people for money. That's not a good dude. You know, you can romanticize that all you want. You know, he was a hitman. He was a mercenary. You know, he's a hired thug, essentially. And the fact that you have this, instead of putting on disguises like Batman, you have a guy with, you know, the associative personality disorder, which they called, you know, schizophrenia back in the 80s, which, you know, we didn't really know what that stuff was. You were just crazy, you know, there was no words for it. You know, there's no diagnosis. And the fact that he has this kind of strange, you know, this spiritual relationship with like this really one-sided relationship with this Egyptian god that gives nothing back. He's just basically pushing him to be more violent and just do things as he sees fit. So he's kind of having this internal struggle that makes him, I'm not going to say more interesting, but that dynamic really sets him apart, you know, for me.
Yeah, I agree in the sense that those contrasts are what make that chasm between the two wide, like pretty far apart, in my opinion.
I disagree.
Talk to us.
Everyone draws a comparison between Moon Knight and Batman. And I think for all the reasons you listed earlier, Botter, yes. but that's the surface level shit. And I think nobody really understands the difference or the comparisons between the two or similarities unless they've read pulps. If they've read specifically the pulps that both Batman and Moon Knight are based off of, which is the Shadow. The Shadow has a cab driver that serves as one of his agents. He has a blonde-haired lady named Margot Lane, who is also one of his agents. He is also the personality of Lamont Cranston, while simultaneously not actually being Lamont Cranston. He is French World War I pilot, who was also in the military, Kent Allard, who assumes the identity of a rich guy that exists. And he's not a detective. He is a mercenary who essentially took all of the evil he did, compiled it into one sort of mystical ball, and uses it to fight against evil. So he is evil is being visited upon by evil for goodness sake. And Batman more or less took sort of the surface level kind of stuff about the Shadow and made it his own, right? The idea of, Bruce Wayne is the mask, Batman's the real personality. Well, that's the Shadow, but I think initially, Ed, you're 100% right. Moon Knight was basically like Boba Fett at his inception, where he's like, yeah, this is a cool looking dude. Well, how do we keep this going? But once Doug Mensch and Bill Sienkiewicz kind of took over, those guys kind of grew up reading or listening to all that stuff. And they're 100%, I'm almost 100% positive they know, especially considering the choices they made.
Well, that's their generation too.
Exactly.
Sure,
that this is a throwback to the pulps, just like Batman was. So anyone that's like, oh, he's like Marvel's Batman, and they start saying, I'd be like, yes, you're 100% right. And they start saying stuff like, oh, because he's rich, he has a, no. He's Marvel's Batman because both Batman and Moon Knight dip from the same well. They both dip from the well of the pulps. That's why they're similar. They're not similar because surface level shit. Anyone can say that. That's fucking baby shit, dog. If you want detective stories and commentary on classism, that's Batman. If you want a guy who jet sets and also sort of like fights the darker criminal element while using what evil he had inside of him at one point to do it, that's Moon Knight. I don't know. I think it's not so easy as surface level comparisons.
I can get behind that.
Looking at it now, I understand it, but it didn't really cross my mind, honestly, about how close he was to Batman. But now that I think about it, it was that first issue where he was fighting that ex-S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, and he literally kills the guy before he even gets the guy's story. And then I think about Batman: The Long Halloween, where Batman brings Solomon Grundy a Thanksgiving dinner plate.
Yeah, there's no compassion.
Two very different characters.
For sure.
Yeah, Batman's not about retribution.
He still didn't cover that dish, though, in the sewer. I'm still kind of upset. Should have put some saran wrap over that thing.
Moon Knight would have left Solomon Grundy. He would have shit in a bag and left it out for Solomon Grundy.
Set it on fire.
Lit it on fire.
I'm telling you, Moon Knight. Those Moon Knight memes and Moon Knight, the comic character, are not far apart. He is an asshole, all right? I'm out to prove it. But I think motives is a big difference between the two. I did want to interject this real quick. Bill Sienkiewicz is responsible for the he might not be an original creator, but he was responsible for kind of modernizing Moon Knight and giving him the look that we are all accustomed to seeing today.
And this is probably his longest run on a title, I think.
Longest run, and the reason we even got Bill Sienkiewicz, right? Wasn't this like his kind of his entry into, I think, comic books, right?
Yeah, it's one of his first things, and he was still kind of in his, I guess, and I mean this, I don't mean this as a shot, but in his Neil Adams phase, where he's still,
that's
drawing more
traditional.
Look,
it's baby Sienkiewicz.
But it's still
Neil
good.
Adams,
it's still you still see the skill, but then you see, like, right after Moon Knight is when you start seeing, like, the collages and the crazy experimental stuff and the stuff that we know, like trademark Sienkiewicz stuff. So this is like, like you said, baby Sienkiewicz. Like, you can see all that Neil Adams inspiration, which also can probably give you that Batman.
And I think that's what happened too. That very apparent Neil Adams inspiration and fandom, I think, was the thing that fans honed in on. I mean, I've got this quote from Sienkiewicz. where he talks about, he says, I received quite a bit of criticism from the fans for imitating him too much, partly out of frustration of being labeled a Neil Adams clone. One day I really just started to cut loose. So, I mean, that did end up biting him in the ass, and the character itself too, right? Like, Bill Sienkiewicz's love of Neil Adams made everyone think that, oh, this Moon Knight guy is definitely a rip.
Yeah, then you can kind of see him getting like a little more rough around the edges, you know, not as clean as Neil Adams stuff. You can start to see his kind of that scratchy sketchiness start coming into his like towards the middle or towards the end of that run. Because I think he may have been inking himself at that time, but he had like different inkers, but he was always penciling at least those first 30 issues or so.
Bill Sienkiewicz said he left the series because he was like, oh, we went too far. I didn't want to go back to drawing Moon Knight fighting a regular guy. He said, after what we did, fuck it, I had to bounce.
That's funny.
I want to go ahead and shift the conversation to the live action show that's coming out, the Disney Plus series, and based on the trailers that we've seen and information that's been available, some of the promo images, which I got to give them credit. Like a lot of them promo posters and being able to see like Mr. Knight on the promotional material has been pretty fun.
Oh, it looks awesome. I think the costume looks really good. So definitely, like, at least they hit that for me. I haven't seen that much stuff with Oscar Isaacs. Like, I know he's a big deal, but at this point I can kind of like, they could have like, he's interchangeable with so many other actors for me.
You hush your mouth, Ashley.
I was waiting for that.
That man is a treasure.
Damn right.
How dare you?
He's the brown guy role model, all right? We all want to be fucking Oscar Isaac, god damn it.
He's a Florida boy.
Damn right,
Oh,
dude.
is he?
Florida boy. And he was in a few ska bands.
Oh boy.
That makes him cooler.
There's footage on YouTube. You can look it up. Like,
What band?
He's
Was
the
it a
lead singer
big band,
/ guitar player.
Was it a
That's
big
pretty
band
cool.
or do you know the name? Was he in Less Than Jake? Was he in that band?
No, he was in the
He
Worms.
opened for Less Than Jake.
Oh,
I know that much.
okay.
He was in the Worms, Closet Heterosexuals, and then Petrified Frogs and the Blinking Underdogs.
Oh,
The Blinking Underdogs is the one that got the most success.
Yeah.
Blinking. Okay. I did not see them in my ska phase.
They were a
Ska show
panhandle
phase.
group.
Based on what we've seen, some of the things that'll translate over. Of course, we got the costumes. You got the regular caped costume of Moon Knight. You also got Mr. Knight. Will be premiering this live action. It looks like we might even see like a little bit of Khonshu, like maybe bone armor. I've seen like an image that looked like Khonshu, but they got the gadgets all down packed too. You got the throwing moons, of course. You got the cape, and in a few of the trailers, you could see like, you know, his classic like, you know, his cape forming that moon shape that it always does in the comics when he's like descending down on someone or jumping down. Oscar Isaac has gone on saying that the series is going to be like a heavy like character study. We'll also see a few of his multiple personalities, of course. We got Stephen Grant and Jake Lockley, I think are rumored, or not rumored, but like will be in the show. But his take on Stephen Grant won't be like a millionaire playboy. Oscar Isaac, that was like one of his input was like, you know, I want to do a different approach to Stephen Grant. You know, I want to give him a British accent. And I want to have him as a kind of like timid museum shop owner. You know, I don't want him to be like this cool guy. So that was something that he wanted to incorporate. And I got this quote here that I wanted to share with you guys that Oscar Isaac shared about the show that I thought he said that this was going to be a character study, which he feels is going to set it apart from some of the other Marvel properties. But he shared the following, quote, "What I love most about this thing is that it's an exploration of a mind that doesn't know itself. A human being that doesn't know his own brain. I found that really moving, what the mind is capable of as far as survival, but the workload was massive. The technical challenge of embodying these different characters. Physically, the way I manifest my body, it required a lot of energy." End quote. What do you guys think about that?
I think that's where the character arc is going to lie. I think for this show, it'll start off with him being fractured, and by the end of it, all of his personalities will be working together.
Kind of see it like, I think it was Jeff Lemire's initial, I guess, reboot, where he was in like a
Insane Asylum.
Yeah, he was in Insane Asylum and wasn't sure what was real and what was not. I don't know if they will play off on that and then reveal that at the end, or because it's only 6 episodes. So
I think according to the that Wikipedia page, they specifically call out that Jeff Lemire run. You know, the whole like him kind of figuring out what is real and what isn't. I think that theme will be really prevalent throughout this whole show.
It's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be a new character for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So they might have to do a little more origin work, you know what I'm saying? They could do flashbacks, or they could do each episode a different personality and then tie it up at the end.
Oscar Isaac is talking about taking the job on character, right? So if that's why he took the job, then that's probably the arc we're going to follow from a writer's perspective. I bet you anything, there will be an episode where all of his personalities are in a room together and they're all talking, to include Khonshu and Moon Knight.
Oh, yeah.
All will be like, look, we're all the same guy, so we need to work in tandem with each other. And
Yeah.
He'll walk by a mirror and he'll see maybe one personality telling him like, hey buddy, maybe I should drive. And he's like, okay. And then next one takes over and it's like, that's what they call writing, guys. So we'll see. I don't know.
I'll spotlight one other difference that I can already tell from the trailer from the comics, and that's the character that Ethan Hawke is playing in this series, which will be the antagonist, a character named Arthur Harrow, I think. In the trailers so far and the way the show's been promoted and solicited, Ethan Hawke has even gone on to say that his character is more of like a mysterious cult leader that's got ties to Spectre in some way. So probably through like Khonshu or his origin in some way. Well, in the comic books, the character he plays, Arthur Harrow, was actually a deranged scientist who was continuing the Nazi experiments from Auschwitz. So just a completely deplorable kind of mad scientist kind of character. And I think he was only...
You're saying this had pulp origins, see? I don't get it.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Which I think that character was... And I think this is something, about Moon Knight. I've always felt that his... rogue list. If we were to compare Batman and fucking Moon Knight, well, Moon Knight is severely slacking in the rogue gallery list for sure.
That's probably the biggest difference between them is that Batman's got the better bad guys.
There's the crazy Frankenstein shield robot peg leg guy.
The guy he took out in one issue and two
the
panels.
disgruntled cop.
That's kind of the problem with a fractured character, right? Like all of Batman's bad guys are basically, if you took Batman and if he was a pane of glass and you smashed it, every one of those fragments would be, a version of Bats that, and if you made it evil, then those are his rogues gallery, which is like freaking fantastic. With Moon Knight, you can't really do that because he is fractured. So all his bad guys as a result end up being sort of two-dimensional, not real reflections, right? You could have like, I'm a mercenary, but I never learned from my mistakes. So Moon Knight, I'm mad at you, and it's like, cool. Well, I'm just going to break your neck and stick a moon crescent through your eyeball and we're done with you, So there's it's kind of, they kind of wrote themselves into a corner,
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Morris Day guy in the Starwell fight was pretty awesome.
And the motherfucking time.
It was like this. He didn't match anybody else. He's like, this guy comes out with a purple suit and two golden knives. I'm like, where'd this guy come from?
Moon Knight, I will destroy you with my jungle love.
Oh.
I think I want to know you.
There's rumors that a werewolf, whether it be Jack Russell from the comics or just a fucking werewolf period, might show up in the series as an Easter egg to his first appearance.
Jack Russell, how funny is that?
Which would be
name?
fucking ridiculous.
Fan service is not a good option.
Not with a fucking werewolf.
Hey, Moonlight, remember me? We used to hang out. It's like, shut up, dude. I got my own show. I can't get you a TV show, Werewolf by Night. No one likes you.
Teen Wolf already did it better.
Yeah. Werewolves are not in right now. Come back later.
Well, we'll see if any of our predictions for the show come true. The show does air the same day that this episode drops, so we'll see how that goes. With that being said, I wanted to get to wrapping up this Moon Knight segment. First, let's go ahead and share some recommendations for further reading material. Does anyone have any other Moon Knight comics or series our listeners should check out if they end up enjoying the show and want to dive into the characters some more?
You know what I'm going to do, man. I'm going to say the Jerome Pena run, man.
That's right. That was your champion like not too long ago.
Anything that Jerome Pena does, I'm like, delicious. So nice.
The Stephen Platt issues, I'll recommend.
Just for the art alone.
Jacked giant Moon Knight.
Was that from the, was it like the Fist of Khonshu run? Was that it?
I think so, yeah. Or 93, 92, 93, before Rob Liefeld stole him and made him do profit. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Paid him a shit ton of money. Yep.
Ashley, what about you? You got any Moon Knight reading material?
This is the only Moon Knight run I've ever read, so I liked it. But
interesting. I thought maybe you would have been a fan or recommended the Jeff Lemire.
Yeah, he's not drawing it.
Yeah, he's not drawing it. It's Greg Smallwood.
Marvel's not letting him draw it.
I think I did because that one's more recent, right? By a little bit.
Yeah, by a little bit. It was the next series following the Warren Ellis one.
Yeah, I think I read the first issue of that.
And you were like, nah.
I was reading a lot of comics back then.
Word. All right, well, I've got 2 to recommend, and the first one being the rest of this run. I know it's not Warren Ellis and Declan Shelvey. I know that, they basically just dropped the mic, but Brian Wood takes over after Warren Ellis with issue 7. And I think he stays on to like 12. But Greg Smallwood is the artist with Brian Wood. I thought Greg Smallwood was only on that Jeff Lemire run. And like I said, it's more of like a linear story, and they kind of dive more into what Warren Ellis set up in the beginning with the psychiatrist and whatnot. Worth reading, worth continuing on. With that said, that is all the Moon Knight talk we got for you today, Shortbox Nation. We've spent all this time talking about a comic from 2014 and what's to come in this new Disney Plus series, but it's now time to move into our next segment and talk about some new comic releases hitting your local comic shops in the next month. It's time to grab a fistful of new comics.
You can either have a mouthful of teeth or a fistful of comics.
Fistful of Comics is the part of the show dedicated to all you Wednesday warriors who loyally frequent your local comic shops every week, as well as newbies looking for a little help and direction on how to spend your hard-earned cash on only the best new titles. This segment is brought to you by Ben Kingsbury, owner of Gotham City Limit, Jacksonville's premier shop for comics, toys, collectibles, and more. Even if you don't live in Jax, you can still shop at Gotham by visiting their website or shopping their marketplace on the Whatnot app, both of which are linked in this episode's show notes. Like he always does, Ben has curated this week's list of top 3 comics he deems worthy of your money. So let's cue up the music and see what he's picked out. This first one that we've got on this list is Flash, the Fastest Man Alive, obviously coming out from DC Comics. It's a number 1 of 3, comes out April 26th. It's written by Kenny Porter, and art is being done by Ricardo Lopez Ortiz. Let's hear what Ben's got to say about this one.
I'm an 80s and 90s kid who loves all things Flash, and to boot, this is the lead up to the new movie coming out. Sign me up, like Flash.
All right, that's it first. Yeah, I can get behind hearing Ben's voice on this segment.
I love it.
This next comic on his list comes from Image Comics. It's a brand new number 1. It's called Bloodstained Teeth. Issue 1 comes out April 27th. It's written by Christian Ward with art by Patrick Reynolds. Let's hear what Ben has to say about this one.
A crime saga with fangs, billed as a fast-paced 100-bullet style comic story, right up my alley.
Now, that is a man that is passionate about selling comics to people. All right, the last one on his list is Star Wars Tales Chrysanthemum number 1. Comes out, no surprise here, May 4th is when this new issue 1 comes out. Let's hear what Ben's got to say about this one.
Star Wars fans, experience what made this new character a legend from the hit Book of Boba Fett TV show. May the Force be with ya.
Ben talks about comics like a pitchman from the 1950s.
That is what this segment was missing this
He
whole
should
time.
do the transatlantic voice, I think. You like Star Wars, kids? Hey.
Say, fellas.
Listeners, normally I would have read all of that, but I said there's no way I can accurately capture the salesman essence
It was
of
like
Ben
that
and
infomercial
excitement.
energy.
Yeah, I know, right? Like we need this segment needed.
There's got to
that.
be a better way.
So we're gonna experiment with that, and I think that'll be the new way we do things for this segment.
Are
going
you
forward.
using your comics to clean up messes in the kitchen?
Oh, man. All right, before we wrap up, of those 3, Flash the Fastest Man Alive, Bloodstained Teeth from Image Comics, and Star Wars Tales Chrysanthemum number 1, I want to hear from each of you, starting with Ashley. Which of these 3 would you personally put on your pull list?
So that the Bloodstained Teeth looks pretty cool. Christian Ward is such a good artist. It's kind of disappointing that he's writing, but he don't know anything about Patrick Reynolds, but if you pick that guy to do the artwork, like it's probably good.
Yeah, I'm assuming an artist would pick another fellow good artist. But Ashley, could you next time not say that so petty? I love the way that you were like, I don't know about this Patrick Reynolds guy, but yeah.
That's true.
Yes, he's all right.
Shots fired.
All right, see, what about you, man? Which one are you putting on your pull?
Man, normally I would have immediately picked The Flash, but as soon as he said movie tie-in, I was kind of like, nope, I'm out of here. And despite the fact of what I just said, I would probably go with Chrysanthemum, and also put some respect on that man's name. It is Black Chrysanthemum. All right, everyone knows this.
Well, look, that's how I'm right there with you. But that's what Marvel decided to name the comic.
Yeah, no, I know. They're like, problematic. We don't want to get in trouble.
Yo, what about?
Oh, I'm Disney. I'm scared.
Oh no!
What about White Chrysanthemum?
Oh, that's even more problematic.
White Chrysanthemum.
I'm gonna piggyback on C's. That was probably gonna be my pick. But
Who is this guy? Is that weird looking Wookiee? That's crazy looking.
yo, put some
Yeah,
goddamn.
I don't know who
he's
this
the
is.
Wookiee bounty hunter in Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, that guy. Okay, yeah, he's pretty cool.
He's also previously been introduced in comics too.
Yeah.
So
Jason Aaron's run, matter of fact. So the fact Jason Aaron's back on this. Ed, what about you, man? Which one are you putting on your pull?
If I had to choose, I'll probably will pick up the Bloodstained Teeth.
Okay.
That sounds like something I'd be
Yeah,
interested.
you can't go wrong with a new image.
Yeah, the Flash. I agree with C. It was like I like Flash, but I'm not interested. You know, that terribly interested in a movie tie-in
Same.
because it's going to be another Flashpoint type story. Is that? the
yeah,
idea?
I'm not really interested in
Yeah,
that
me
movie.
Okay.
So, and then Star Wars is like, whatever.
All right, so we had 2 votes for Star Wars and then 2 votes for Bloodstained Teeth. I will look to our listeners
Eat it, Flash.
to break that tie. All right, but that is this week's list. If any of those pique your interest, man, consider putting them on your pull list or having your local comic shop order them for you. Shout out to Ben. I like this new format, and shout out to the whole Gotham City Limit shop for the help this week. We're going to go play some music, man. We're going to take a quick little music break, refresh our drinks, rest our mouths for a bit. I know it's only
that
been...
sounded weird.
Yes, it did.
Rest
I don't know why I
our
said
mouths
that.
for a bit.
Not sure why I said that. Oh, well, I'm keeping it in.
I'm getting lockjaw.
Let's rest our mouths.
Look, I'm going to keep it in, all right? Errors and all. I know it's only been an hour since we left the intro music behind, but fuck it. I really like it, man. Mecha the Marvelous really outdid himself with this intro. So I want to hear it again. So we'll play the instrumental version of our new intro song for this season, produced by our main music man, Mecha the Marvelous. And then we'll be back with emails and champion season. So don't go nowhere. Yo, once again, the music you just heard was done by Mecha the Marvelous. Man, listen to more of his beats and other music on Spotify, Apple Music, or stop being cheap and show your support and buy some music directly from him on Bandcamp. We got a link to his entire discography on this episode's show notes, so check that out. We're now going to read some emails received by listeners just like you. I'll turn it over to C. We got 2 emails to read today.
Cool. So this first one is from Trey Namo. And it says, something besides DC/Marvel?
Oh, here we go.
Uh-oh.
From Trey Namo, he writes, what's up, Shortbox crew? It's been a minute since I've submitted an email, but I think I've got a good one for y'all that isn't comic book related this time. What? I think I speak for the rest of the listeners when I ask this question, and I know Drew definitely touched on the subject in his previous champion from episode 354. But I'd like to piggyback on his champion of friendship and hear you guys give each other.
That's yours. He stole yours.
I think
It's all right.
I think he was joking too, but anyways.
Oh, sorry.
He basically asked if he can hear us give each other sincere and genuine, it says complaints. I think he meant compliments from the heart.
So we did that already.
I think that was
leave it to Ed to be like, look, you got me. I'm done. I'm done with this.
I think that was episode 350. But anyway, continue. See what else is in that email?
P.S. If you guys can't actually give each other compliments, most likely see towards Botter. What the fuck?
Wow.
I'd for real love to hear which non-Marvel/DC property you guys would like to see make the leap to the big screen. Mine would be an animated version of Stray Dogs by Image Comics. Bonus points if they could get a stacked cast similar to DC's Super Pets movie. PSS, keep it geeky, and check out DMZ on HBO Max. Trey Namo.
Does Trey Namo work for HBO?
Thank
That
you,
was
Trey.
like a very marketing. Like
He might.
Don't forget to check out DMZ on HBO Max.
Stray Dogs was a good series.
I just read the first one.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, so if you guys can't come up with sincere compliments,
I think he was just wanting you to do it.
why me?
He pointed you out. He called you out. Especially
He called me out as far as saying something nice to Botter, and I say too many nice things to Botter off mic for me to do it on mic. It's just not good branding, Trey.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's not good branding.
Aren't we? Well, we're doing
Botter
that.
knows
that,
how I feel
that
about him.
documentary will come out, and it'll be compliments galore.
That's a good
exactly.
point.
Ooh, good plug, Ed. Yes, absolutely.
Working hard.
You'll have to stay tuned to the doc to hear all that stuff.
The doc will come out in 2030 when this email is no longer relevant. And yeah.
My daughter will actually be directing it. So.
Oh, nice.
And she's not even born yet.
And you know what? C does got a good point. I mean, at the end of the day, the most important thing about this show is our branding and our personality. So, I mean, if C was to give a compliment,
It would conflict with everything.
oh my God. Is this what Stockholm Syndrome feels like? I can't believe I'm defending C not being nice to me on the show. Wow. Interesting.
I've gotten in your head. I'm Conchu, my son.
All right. Well, Ashley, I would like to hear. Ashley, how about you go and give us the compliments? We're all ears.
Oh.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to remind you guys all about the time I called you brothers in the group chat and you all made fun of me. So,
Well,
and then I'm going to say Southern
I'm so
Bastards
sorry.
HBO drama.
Ooh.
I think I was the one.
Damn,
I'll
mic
take
drop.
the blame for making fun of you. That was
You were the
pretty much
first,
me.
yeah.
Well,
For the record, did I really make fun of you, or did I just chime in on the laughter? You know, we're all
Look at Brad trying to come out smelling like a rose.
we're all guys.
Glad hand Milligan here.
it just threw me off. It wasn't really a make fun of thing. It was just like, where did this come from? Brothers.
Oh, no, it's fine. I'll never
Brothers
forget the
to
way I
battle.
I mean, I've already gone on record plenty of times saying you guys are the best thing that's happened to me in a long time.
Nice.
Blah,
Real
blah, blah.
nice.
My live action adaptation. Damn, Ashley, you stole mine. That was good. So I'll say this: one of my champions today is what I would what I would like to see as a live action adaptation, and I'll share it when I get to champion season. So that is my way of weaseling my way out of this one.
Ew,
What was
that's
yours,
gross.
Ashley? I don't
Hers
even.
was Southern Bastards, which
Oh,
is
Southern
good,
Bastard.
which is
That's
a good
one.
choice.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, see you. Either you can give a blanket compliment or a specific one, and then give us your
Man,
live
I'm
action.
professional. I got you covered. Hold on. Here we go. Ashley, I will say genuinely from the heart, you are one of the most hardest working people I know, and your attention to detail and ability to get shit done in a timely fashion, or even not so timely fashion, but you get it done, is inspiring and makes me want to work harder. Ed, you are one of the most even-keeled person. Dude, I truly do aspire to get at your level of non-fuck with.
It's
like nothing seems to faze
fairly
you. Like,
recent.
I'm like, well, I'm like, damn it, man, Ed, why aren't you more mad about this? And Ed's just like, hey, man, come see, come saw. That's the way life is sometimes, you know? And I'm just like,
I bottle
yeah,
that anger.
it is the way
inside.
that way.
I just bottle it anger.
Shh, just take the compliment.
Oh,
Ed.
I'm trying to be more like that.
appreciate
And Botter,
Hey.
swallow a bottle of pills, buddy. I hate
Oh,
you. I
no.
don't think it's going to happen. We're done after this. Okay, you and I, over. I'm never working with you again. From here on out, professionally, we are done. And as far as my
really hard.
and as far as my property that I want to see brought to the big screen, I'm going to say I want a version of The Shadow that hasn't been done before. I have no problem with the
Alec
movie that came out in
Baldwin.
1991. But I would much rather see a more faithful adaptation and a period piece. So, and that's from Dynamite Publishing.
I like it.
I will take your stray dogs and I will raise you stray bullets by David Lampin.
Damn, you went from like cute to violence.
No, Stray Dogs is violent. It's the whole. It's cute over top of violent act.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's pretty weird. But let's see, compliments. Oh man, let's see. Ashley, I've known forever. So, like I said, it's.
I'm sorry.
I think, and I don't know if I've told this on the show, or I think I might have told you that, but I think when we first really hung out was going to Heroes Con, doing that drive to Heroes Con. And I was like, oh my God. And I didn't really know you at that time. So I was like, oh my God, this is going to be like the longest drive. What are we going to talk about? But we just talked shit the whole time and it was awesome. So
it was a fun trip.
Yeah, it was fun.
You guys still bring that energy to this day.
But Ashley, like I said, I think artistically, I think you've like leveled up so many times since I've known you. Like I said, I'm glad you're part of the show. You bring a good, really unique perspective on things. C, I've known you for a while too. Like I said, super talented guy. Love having you on the show. Like I said, it's nice to have someone to kind of go back and forth with and play off of, during the show. It's real fun for me. So when you're not here, I'm usually kind of lost. So I was like, oh no.
I thought for a minute you were about to fire C. You were like,
no, it's
love
like
having you on the show, buddy.
Right.
I like, because you're the only one that gets my old man references. So, and it's good.
I'm right there.
It's fun. I know I'm going to have like a good rapport, with you on the show. So it's fun. It makes my job easier, I should say. And of course, Botter does pretty much all the rest of the stuff. So it's a situation where he works super hard, always trying to make the show better, especially the last few years. I think we've really stepped up our game, like I say, does a lot of hard work, does all the behind the scenes technical stuff, which I'm glad I have no part of. But like I said, he's like I said, he's he kind of keeps the train on the rails,
Ed, I appreciate that, and I think it's time I finally came clean and admitted that
you have an assistant.
I pay a child in a foreign land 5 cents a day to edit these episodes.
It's this or back to the factory with you.
I use child labor. No, I appreciate that, Ed. Thank you.
Papa Botter, will you please stop paying me in Happy Meals?
I said you can call me Dad when you finish this champion season edit, damn it. All right. Appreciate the email, Trey. See, who else we got? What other email we got?
We got one from, oh, snap. Did it go away? Here we go. This one is actually from, this one's from T-Mix. And it says, tweet. He writes, yo.
Nice reverb.
What up, Shortbox? It is currently 3:52 a.m. And I'm feeding my newborn a bottle, so I decided this was the right time to fire off an email. Haha. Things to look forward to, Cesar. He put a little accent on my E. Yeah, because he knows I'm having a little baby girl. So that's so cute, dude. The Comic Geeks app is money. I immediately downloaded it and started populating my pull list. Too bad my shop isn't connected to the app. The weekly spending graph is dangerous. I think my favorite part is how easy it is to browse new titles. Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, 2 titles I found because of the app that I picked up were Godzilla vs. Power Rangers, and he puts in parentheses stupid nostalgic fun. I think there's a lot of cross-pollination there, and I don't think it's as stupid as you think, man. That does sound freaking fun. And the second one he picked was We Have Demons by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo.
Oh, it just came out.
Nice.
I guess the latter title circles back to why I am writing at such an early hour. Digital versus analog comics. I bought We Have Demons #1 at a shop and later found that the entire miniseries run is available on Prime Reading through Comixology. I was reading issue #2 just before writing this email. My question is how y'all feel about digital versus analog for new comics. I mean, I'm happy I could read all of We Have Demons, especially at 4 a.m. while rocking my newborn to sleep, LOL. But I do like to hold things I'm reading, plus supporting the shops. One champion this week is sleep. Lots of sleep, if you can. Wish me luck. We also have We Have Demons in its 3-issue miniseries. Hasta la próxima, mis amigos. T-Mix.
Nice. Yo, congrats. Shout out to T-Mix and congrats.
Boy.
Congrats
Yeah,
on,
man.
on the new
Cheers, brother.
For sure.
That's awesome.
In regards to his question about analog versus digital, if y'all guys don't mind, I'll kick it off. Because T-Mix.
By all means, if we don't mind. That's the most... That was the most rushed version of consent by gunpoint I have ever heard in my life.
You're right, C. You're right. Does anyone want to kick off answering T-Mix's question about analog versus digital?
I guess you could start.
No, you got it.
Fine.
I wanted to go first because I championed the Comic Geeks app last episode, so I'm glad to see that he's enjoying it. And this is coming from someone who has, in the last, I think maybe 2 years, recently really adopted the digital comics angle of things. I think digital comics are fantastic.
Shill.
Well, time out. I still support my local comic shop, Gotham City Limit. Every week I go in and I buy new number ones. I think going into a shop and being able to pick up a brand new series, a new number one, or going there for the excitement of a title that's whole Grand Design. I'll be in there next. Well, I guess I'll be in there today, right? Whatever. When this episode comes out, that issue will be out. So I'm gonna be in the shop picking it up because I want to experience picking up a new title like that in the shop. But in regards to reading this Moon Knight series we highlighted. I got the Marvel Unlimited app. It's there. It's accessible. I didn't have to go buy a bunch of back issues or granted the trade is pretty sleek. Ed's got that here, but digital comic books is just convenient. As someone that doesn't have a lot of space in his apartment, because I've got other shit, it's the more opportunities I have to cut down on short boxes or bookshelves or whatever it may be. Not saying that I don't have that or enjoy that, but the opportunities I have to cut down on having a bunch of, hard copy books around the house is great because that means I can spend that money on buying really nice hardcovers or books that I want to have in physical form that might mean something to me, right? See, I was, over your house yesterday. You had purchased your first Batman comic book ever. And it's that's something I would buy physical because that's got sentimental value. But buying an old series just to have, it's there's too many I think options for digital comic books where it's not where I couldn't recommend at least looking into trying out digital comics.
Well, that's all the time we have today, folks. Thanks for listening.
I really could go on a whole time. I probably should dedicate a whole episode to that. But those are my thoughts.
Basically got around to saying he enjoyed digital more. So
yes, I think currently now, yeah, I can get behind that. What about you, Ashley?
I like supporting comic shops, honestly. I don't want them to go away. I read some stuff digital where in the past I just wouldn't, but I've been reading stuff digital the past year or so. But, I still like going in and buying comics, even though I don't have the space for them.
And actually, you might be able to agree. I don't think you need to pick between the two. It's both offer unique, experiences. It's why not get the best of both worlds? You could still go.
T-Mix trying to split us up.
It still feels like cheating, though. It's still kind of, I don't know what it is. But if I read something digitally, then I feel well, I could have bought this at the shop, but I'm just going to read this in bed. So that's why when we have to read something digitally, sometimes I'll do that free website that puts all the viruses on my phone because then I'm not cheating on the comic shop.
For research
Phone's got
material.
5 STDs.
Wait, is that your penance? Is that in exchange for research material, you'll put a virus on your phone?
Yeah, pretty much. And then next time I go to the shop, I'll just buy something extra.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll just say I like digital a lot. It's something that I've recently come to, but Sarah and I usually unplug Friday nights all the way till Saturday night. So that's 24 hours, not really watching TV or picking up a phone or whatnot. And that's usually when analog stuff comes in handy. So I don't think you have to choose. I think you can do both. I think you can pick up, your digital and, it's a lot more convenient if you're on the go. Or if you want to, have that sort of easy to read aesthetic where the panels sort of move for you. But if, there's nothing that beats holding something in your hand, I was listening to the George Perez episode that we did a long time ago in our Artist Spotlight. And we all kind of talked about that George Perez put all of basically his life force into making comics. And that's something that you could buy and pick up. And you're literally holding somebody else's art. You're holding their life. You're holding hours of their life in your hands. So there's something there that's cool. Like, I think you can do both. I don't know. What do you think, Ed?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you have to embrace the progression of, comic books. This is going to be the next format. You have to kind of embrace the technology when it comes, but, and it can be a generational thing too, because I grew up on books and physical media. So I still have a love for it. So I still, the digital stuff is a lot easier to read now. It's a lot easier. It's formatted. It's convenient. But, at the end, and like I said, having both, the digital stuff can easily launch into physical copies, like the Snyder, was it the Demons?
We Have Demons.
We have Demons. That was strictly an online thing that became big enough they could produce a book. Look at Ed Piskor's Red Room was strictly a Patreon experiment process, and then people wanted it. You can throw down a few bucks on his Patreon and read everything he's doing, but there's still, it's been, and like I said, it's not for everybody. This isn't like a feel-good, warm and fuzzy title by any means. It's very outlaw and violent, and but it's one of Fantagraphic's best-selling books, which started as kind of like an experiment of, an online experiment. So one can lead to another. You can live with both. I still, if it's something I like now, and like I said, a room is becoming an issue even for me. So it's, if it's something I really like, I want it physical, because there's points where I want to disconnect. I want to just pick up a book and read and not have, anything electronic except for the lights on. Yep. So, but yeah, I think both can exist. And I think, the further we go down, it's going to eventually evolve into a digital medium. And then there'll be probably just, graphic novels come out, like collections and things like that.
We'll see. Hopefully not for a long time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, T-Mix, thank you for that email. Much appreciated.
Yeah,
and a big shout out to Trey also for sending in emails.
Good stuff.
We can never have enough emails or opportunities to hear from you listeners. We'd love to have more to read next week. So I'll give our listeners a prompt to write against. If each of the hosts on this show represented a different personality or identity of Moon Knight, tell us who would be who. So essentially match the co-host.
That's good.
So essentially match the co-host to any of Moon Knight's many identities he's had in the comics or even show if they introduce anyone new. We'll read the responses later this month, and we'll pick our favorite one and give that person, I was going to bribe you guys. I was going to incentivize this, but we'll give that person a copy of DC's new Shadow War Alpha #1. It kicks off a new Deathstroke and Batman limited series. And, of course, I'll be giving away the Gotham City Limit Tyler Kirkham retail exclusive variant cover at that. You know how we do around these parts. Write us what you think in a short email and send it to our inbox at theshortboxjacks@gmail.com. Once again, the prompt is essentially matching each of us to one of Moon Knight's many identities.
I thought the prize was going to be all of your Marvel Legends Hasbro action figures.
Do it.
That'll happen when I suffer DID and speak to a moon god.
Botter, how do you know you're not doing it now? We're all dressed in white. We're all just fractured reflections of you, clearly. I am the more handsome version of you.
Wow.
And, Ed is the more eloquently refined version. True. Ashley, of course, a harder worker. We're all kind of this. Dude, haven't you seen Fight Club?
Damn, you're right. And I guess maybe that explains our #1 rule in Shortbox. We don't talk about Shortbox. That's why downloads are so low. We need to talk about Shortbox.
We don't talk about Shortbox.
That's why our downloads are so low this month.
Jesus.
Oh, no.
I'm kidding. We're doing just fine, all right? Shortbox is doing great. All right.
Oh, my God.
Listeners, get to writing a response to that prompt. While you do that, we're going to move on to our next segment and tell you about the best entertainment options we've personally enjoyed this week. It's time for Champion Season.
Champion Season.
Champion Season is the part of the show where we highlight other worthwhile entertainment like movies, TV series, books, video games, and honestly anything else we'd personally recommend to our friends. This segment is brought to you by Black Hive Tattoo, Jacksonville's premier appointment-only custom tattoo studio. If you're searching for a group of talented artists who will work with you to bring your comic culture ideas to life, then look no further. Go to blackhivetattoo.com and sign up for their newsletter to find out when they're taking new project requests. Ed, you've got your books like ready to go. Your champions are right here. Go ahead and kick us off, man.
All right.
And if you don't mind holding up your champions to the camera, so
sure.
Listen.
Ew. That's a lewd. How lewd? Did anyone get lewd vibes?
I gotta sell our Patreon, all right? No one else will, all right? Ed, hold up.
You could do it without offering us like burlesque show employees.
Teach me.
Hey Ed, why don't you show a little shoulder? Why don't you dance? Shimmy a little bit for the listeners. Shimmy, Ed.
How do I reach these listeners? Teach me. All right, Ed,
man.
back to you.
So I'm going to champion. First is a silly one, and I don't know why I like this so much, but have you guys heard the newest Backstreet Boys song with Salt and Pepper and In Vogue and Rick Astley? Bring Back the Time.
Okay,
I kind of want to hear it now.
It's
they were all touring for a little bit together.
Yeah, it's they came out I think a few months ago. I don't know. I think it's fairly recent, but they did a video. Great little pop song. And they got to see, In Vogue and Salt and Pepper. They do some verses, Rick Astley, and they basically mimic like 80s stuff that I would like more than them. Like they have like them dressed up as Devo, and then there's like a Talking Heads spoof where they're kind of mocking those videos. Like in this video, it's a fun song. If you just want a good, feel good, simple 3-chord pop song, you can't do. That's not too bad a choice to do, but it's some fun bubblegum pop. And I'm going to transition to this underground title called Dynamite Diva. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. This I just randomly found on Instagram. I follow the publisher. Basically, the guy who drew this is Jasper Jubino. He's a Canadian kid, literally, because he is 21 years old. And he drew this between the ages of 18 and 20. And it looks like something that would be drawn by like a disgruntled 50-year-old underground comics guy. So his his influences are almost like 2 generations before this kid. So basically it's like, the lead character, Dynamite Diva, which tribute to like, Grindhouse, B-movies, sexploitation, like Russ Meyer stuff. If Chester Gould and Spain Rodriguez drew it.
Ooh, nice.
The lead character is kind of like a Tora Santana from, Faster Pussycat, Christina Lindbergh from Thriller, and like Wednesday Addams kind of mixed together as the lead heroine. Yeah, if you like underground comics, there's it's all done in kind of like this 2-3 color format. It's just remarkable that, like this guy drew this, and you can tell even from the beginning, this is basically the complete work he's done. This is like over a 2-3 year period. So a couple hundred pages, really fun book. I just happened to stumble across it. They did a Kickstarter to get it published and they made a ton of money. So like I said, it's if you're looking for something, underground, something a little out of mainstream, this is pretty fun book. There's even a story where he makes fun of, there's a character that's like Ed Piskor. He's kind of making fun of him, which is hilarious. Yeah. So like I said, it's crazy that a 18, 19-year-old kid drew this. This looks like something from the, underground 60s and 70s. So I definitely recommend it.
Good stuff. See what you got to champion today.
I'm going to champion something that is a little bit older, and I actually talked shit about until I started reading it. And Botter, I sent you a text about it. Gotham Central. I don't know if you guys ever read it. I love police procedurals. They make me very happy, especially Law & Order SVU. And this is essentially Law & Order SVU with Batman. And to be perfectly honest, I think this comic might do Batman better than Detective Comics has ever done Batman before. For the same reasons I mentioned earlier, that Batman is derived from the Shadow. In those original pulp novels that came out, the Shadow is very, very, very minimalistically mentioned. He is basically a specter, a wraith, and the story is always about somebody else interacting with him. In this case, it's that same idea, except it's about Gotham GCPD and what happens if one of the partners gets, killed, essentially a family member. They're trying to figure out who did it without the luxury of turning on the bat signal and calling Batman. It's like a race against Batman, essentially. Like how long do they have before the Dark Knight Avenger hears about it and decides to intervene? So it's really the artwork's incredible. Obviously the writing's incredible. We got our boy Brubaker on the case. So if you enjoy that sort of legit detective crime story without any of the superhero frills, I highly recommend Gotham Central. It's very straightforward. Like there's no real cheese or camp to it. I think it's really good.
I definitely co-sign that all day. All right, Ashley, what about you? What are you going to champion today?
I have a show that just wrapped up on HBO that I absolutely loved. It's called Our Flag.
Don't say Euphoria.
No, I haven't watched that. It's Our Flag Means Death. It's a pirate comedy with Taika Waititi as Blackbeard.
Oh, I know.
And Rhys Darby as Steed Bonnet, who are both real pirates, and it's like loosely based around them. And it came out pretty fast. I think they put like 2 or 3 episodes out a week. But it was so good. It was one of those shows, like all of Taika Waititi's stuff just makes me happy. I think everything, I don't know, there's something about the characters. I'm going to rewatch it. And I normally am not a fan of like love stories. Usually I can just, if it's like a romantic comedy, I'm 10 miles away from it. Like we'll never watch it. But this had this like unexpected love story in it. I was like, oh, this is so good. It's just like overall, like one of my favorite shows I've seen in, at least a few years.
This also coming from the same person who looks at the love story between Nicolas Cage and Eva Mendes in Ghost Rider and is like, yes, more of this. You're not getting off that easy.
I got 2 things to champion. Speaking about digital comics, my first champion is DC Universe Infinite, the app.
Somebody please check Botter's forehead. Is his temperature okay? Is he okay? Is he sick? Is he feeling all right?
Ever since they rebranded from DC Universe to this DC U Infinite.
Oh, shit. He's championing the branding too? Oh, my God.
Oh. I'm a sleazeball. I know, I know. Who have I become?
No, who are you? Are you okay?
I don't
Do I need
know.
to come over there? What's happening?
This is my other personality, the sleazeball corporate guy version.
This is DC Botter. This is the different.
Wow. DC Botter. That's a very interesting personality identity.
I like him. He's very nice.
But check it out. Ever since DC Universe Infinite rebranded from DC Universe, I feel like the app has gotten 10 times better. Like honestly, DC Universe Infinite might be my favorite comic app. It's definitely strong, but
they only had Marvel titles.
Look, not everything can be perfect, right? But the selling points, right? It's got over 25,000 comics and graphic novels, not only from the main DC line, but also from Vertigo, the Vertigo imprint, as well as DC Black Label books, and they recently added Milestone Media to the library as well, so you can read all the old Static Shock and Hardware and all that stuff. New comics that come out, today find their way on the app in 6 months, which is a little longer than Marvel Unlimited. Marvel Unlimited comes out every 3 months.
There he is.
Sorry, you didn't think
caveats.
You didn't think I was going to spend 5 minutes.
He's
1
back.
minute.
Yeah, you didn't think I was going to spend 5 minutes only talking DC praise. Nah, fuck that, son. But the DC app is clean UI, easy to navigate. It is extremely new reader friendly because they have like plenty of like curated reading lists. They even got like creator spotlight hubs. So if you've heard us mention Tom King, every episode, you could literally go to a Tom King hub on the app and it'll pull up all of his his comics that he's read. Seasoned readers will enjoy of course, like vast library of mainstream titles. But like I said, you also get harder to find like Vertigo and Black Label stuff on that app.
I only read Gerard Way related comics, so is Young Animal on there.
Ed, we've got some Milk Wars on there for you.
You joke, but I think they're both on there. The last thing I'll say about the DC Universe Infinite, because at the end of the day it matters how much does it cost. It's $7.99 a month, so you can give it a try if you just want to do it monthly and see if it's your thing. But it's also pretty cheap annually. It's only $75 for an annual plan versus I think like Marvel Unlimited.
Who are you?
I don't know. I'm DC Botter.
That sounds like a Christian rap band.
DC Botter.
He's just doing the running man for the Lord.
Do you believe in Jesus? I do believe us. There we go. Patrons get the full album. Everyone else only gets one bar. All right. My second champion, which kind of circles back to also Trey's email as well. See, you're definitely going to ask who the fuck am I when I mention this one. My second champion, which you can read on the DC Universe app, is Basket Full of Heads. And all credit goes to Drew for this one. Last episode, he championed this.
Okay.
DC Drew.
So I'm here to give my testimonial after taking his recommendation. Basket Full of Heads is a 7-issue DC Comics limited series written by Joe Hill and penciled by Leo Max and Raiku Murakami. Hopefully I'm saying that right.
It's never stopped you before.
Not at all. We still going to continue powering through it. It is the first series in the Hill House Comics imprint. I mentioned this last episode, but that first issue, which was released in October 2019, sold over 10 million copies, which
wow. I had no idea.
I don't feel like they promoted that enough, right? Like maybe it was a big deal and I just didn't pay attention.
Yeah,
But
to
anyway,
sell in the millions in comics
Insane.
is huge now.
double digits?
Yeah.
They damn near sold a diamond record. But anyways, it is a kind of like tongue-in-cheek horror comic. The story follows a character by the name of June Branch. She's trapped with 4 criminals who have snatched her boyfriend for their own reasons. There's kind of like a conspiracy story going on with that. But she fights for survival using an 8th century Viking axe that can cut a man's head in a single swipe and leave the severed head still conscious and capable of speech. The comic is got a lot of dark humor. Amazing art. It was my first introduction to the artist Leo Max. If you're a fan of EC Comics or even like modern horror comics along the lines of like Chilling Tales of Sabrina or Afterlife of Archie, I'm telling you, this is an amazingly fun comic. It is so...
Guys, we
See,
got
I
him.
can't escape! Ah!
We got him, guys. We finally got him.
I know.
Everybody, round of applause for Horror Botter.
Horror Botter. Horror Botter.
Horror Botter is right.
Horror Botter or Horror Botter? Yeah.
He's going to try to find this weapon and trap us.
Yeah, he's going to turn into Jigsaw.
I'm telling you,
I
Joe
want
Hill.
to play a game.
See, and Ashley, I'm telling you two would enjoy this comic book a lot. It is like the humor in it is awesome. The art is
Bro,
great.
just because you slept on it don't mean we did.
Did y'all read it?
No, I didn't read it.
Oh, you motherfucker. You almost had me. I was like, you goddamn asshole.
She says, I championed that like a year ago.
I was championing Basket Full of Heads back when I was championing friendship.
Yo, Ashley was like, I was the colorist, Botter. You didn't even read the colorist.
Me and Joel Hill pitched it to DC.
And like I said, all 7 issues are on the DC app, which was great to like be able to try this new series. And now I kind of want to own it in trade. But if anything, it made me want to dive into the rest of like the Hill House imprint catalog, because this one was just so fun. It was a great entry into that imprint. So those are my champions. And we'll now look to our friend and sponsor of this segment, Nick Wagner, to help us close out this segment. Let's hear what the head honcho of Black Hive Tattoo is going to recommend to us this week.
Hey guys, Nick Wagner from Black Hive Tattoo here with this week's pick from way back in 2013. I usually don't jump this far back, and I might have championed this before a year or two ago, but I keep running into people that either don't know about this or haven't gotten around to watching it, and I can't overstate how awesome this documentary is and how important the subject of the documentary is to nerd culture and general sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. It's Alejandro Jodorowsky. His last name is spelled Jodor, if you want to look up Jodorowsky's Dune. His collaborators were people like Mobius and Giger and Chris Voss. And I really don't want to tell too much more because it is a great experience watching this movie. And his takeaway at the end in his 80s is so stunning that I watch it twice a year now just to think about putting myself in the right frame of mind for moving forward as a aging artist. Well, anyway, I've rambled on long enough. I hope you guys have a great week, and definitely check out Jodorowsky's Dune when you get a chance.
Fucking cosign 1,000%. Watch The Holy Mountain. Watch El Topo. Watch Fondo y Lis. Read all of the humanoid prints that he has done. The Incal we've talked about ad nauseum. Jodorowsky's fucking brilliant. That crazy, crazy man is brilliant.
Yeah. Nick has given me the pitch for that documentary in person
I can let you borrow it, man.
Yo, please. I promised him I'd watch it, and I just haven't gotten around to it. But that voicemail,
It's gonna Game of Thrones that shit. It's gonna be on. It's gonna be on the shelf.
No, I'll watch that.
Like the Junji Ito book.
Oh shit! No, he gave that back to me. I made sure.
And for the record, I read that Junji Ito book.
Botter did read it. I saw the pee stains on his pants.
Oh no!
Hopefully, you noticed the pee stains on the book too.
In spiral shape.
Oh, gross.
All right, Nick. Thank you for the submission. And that brings us to the end of Champion Season, which kind of gets us close to wrapping up this show. But before we officially close out the show for this week, C, Ashley, Ed, do either of you have any parting words of wisdom, anything you want to share before we officially wrap up?
Look, this is where we separate people who just started reading comics from those who've been reading for a while. And for those that have been reading for a while, hopefully this episode will help you steer some comic book younger readers into what we've been preaching and what we maybe had to find out the hard way, which is if you're into reading comic books, maybe don't follow a character, but rather learn to start following good writers and good artists. Because Moon Knight started off as sort of a bunk character and ended up being somebody really cool as a result of the people that were attached to crafting his narrative. So that's something I think that, I would like to impart to anyone who just started reading comics. I'll say it every time. Pay attention to writers, pay attention to artists. They're the ones that shape your experience.
Well said. What about you, Ashley? You learn anything new this episode?
I think just the fact that Moon Knight doesn't have that great of bad guys because he kills them too quickly. Before you get like all the facets and character development, like they're dead before any of that happens.
He's got 3 arch enemies living inside him.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hey, what about you, man? You want to say anything to the listeners?
I didn't learn this episode, but I do think that we owe and see, you might second me on this one, but can we say that Blood Feast by Herschel Gordon Lewis influenced Moon Knight?
Oh, dude. Blood Feast. Goodness gracious. The beautiful Blood Feast that also was shot mostly in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yep. 1963. Did you ever see the sequel that he made?
No.
Like, where basically, okay, you've seen Blood Feast though, right?
I have not seen Blood Feast. What is it?
Okay, so I'll
don't tell him, Ed.
Let me tie it in with Moon Knight, because basically there is a food store owner, Fuad Ramses, who basically is sacrificing people to Ishtar, an Egyptian god. So the Egyptian goddess basically drove him crazy to do these horrible acts of killing young nubile women in bikinis. It's the 60s, guys. Come on.
So a lot more. So sexier Moon Knight.
Sexier Moon. And the sequel they did, and I want to say it was like 90s, maybe early 2000s, but the same place where Fuad Ramses had his restaurant or store, his grandson comes and reopens to prove that to basically clear his grandfather's name, and the statue is still there, and it possesses him, and he kills a bunch of like sexy ladies. So basically, it's the same movie
as one does.
It's a Herschel Gordon Lewis, and I think Southern Culture on the Skids did the music for it, so it's a real mess. It's a real mess.
I gotta check that
out. But I'm gonna see how many know that reference out there. I'm gonna say less than 2.
Ed, you've been dropping some gems like Blood Feast, and when you started talking about En Vogue, I immediately went back in time, and I'm like, were they responsible for my sexual awakening?
Probably.
And they are in like I said, I don't want to be too creepy, but they are in cheerleader outfits in this video. That's probably another reason why I championed.
Do you think they'll sue if I go to use that as outro music for this episode?
What a man.
All right.
En Vogue and Salt and Pepper, to be honest.
So I'll share that I learned in 2014, Marvel thought it was okay to make fun of mental health and lost lives due to extreme workplace violence by naming the letter section of this Moon Knight series that we discussed Going Postal. That was the name of the letter column for this comic book. And the interesting thing was,
I think that's more a comment on the actual postal service. I have no problem with that.
You're right. I didn't look at it from that regard. But the interesting thing was, to tie it all together was that they would only print letters that were handwritten and sent in via snail mail. So you couldn't like write an email or send them, a digital, letter or
How
something.
many manifestos did they get?
So yeah, I'll leave it to you to decide if editor Nick Lowe's great idea aged well or not. But I thought that was pretty funny. With that being said, there you have it, Shortbox Nation. Thank you for hanging out
Does
with us.
Ashley have any words of wisdom? Did you say?
She already
Ashley?
did.
Oh, I had a little one about how he kills
You
his
ha-
bad
no
guys
enemy.
too fast.
Nah. That's too small. Come on now.
How are you gonna dictate what Ashley's parting words and what she learned to her?
I think we should after
do
she
better
threw us
than
under the
that,
bus with the
Ashley.
brothers thing because I don't know if I said anything. I don't know if I said anything mean.
I'll go back and
You
check
just did
it.
that thumbs down icon. That could be interpreted in different ways, though.
It could be.
We look like siblings, like our mom dressed us in all white together. Like we were going to church today.
We look like either the Beagle Boys from DuckTales or a fucked up version of Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
All right. Well, it's time for us to go get our shirts dirty or something like that. All right.
Ew.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. Sorry.
What?
Yeah, that
the
was
fuck
weird.
does that mean?
Get our shirts dirty and rest our mouths.
yeah. Rest your mouths, and it's time for us to get our shirts dirty.
Well, it's because it's like time to go. It's lunchtime. And
Even worse. Even worse.
All right. Well, let me go and wrap us up. Right. There you have it,
Ew.
Shortbox. Shut up. Stupid. All right, there you have it, Shortbox Nation. Thank you for hanging out this week, but it's time to close out the show. In the next 2 weeks, you can expect to hear a bonus episode dedicated to reviewing the first episode of the Moon Knight series and possibly an interview with the creator of the League of Comic Geeks website and app. Those should be dropping these next 2 Wednesdays, so stay tuned for those. But if that's too long for you to wait, you can do like Brandon Hillsman and make a smart decision and become a Patreon subscriber.
The smartest decision.
For sure. Consider subscribing to our Patreon channel and you'll get bonus content to keep you entertained in the meantime. Becoming a Patreon subscriber means getting early access to podcast episodes, access to our spin-off podcast series not available anywhere else, as well as the ability to vote on episode topics like our patrons did for this episode, as well as invites to private events like our upcoming Doctor Strange watch party. Stay tuned for
We give you
updates
the
on that.
illusion of control, much like God does.
All right.
Oh,
What version of C is that?
Oh, that's Edgelord C.
Oh, man, I miss
That's the real Edgelord C.
I miss Edgelord C. Damn. Early
Guys,
2000s.
you've been getting the tame version of me this whole time.
AKA Pussy Ass C. What?
oh,
I can't wait for my daughter to hang out with you.
oh no!
It's going to be great. All of you guys, you fucking trolls.
Man.
You're all banned from my house.
Oh,
my
that's good.
daughter is here.
Okay. What was I saying? Oh, Patreon. Listeners, go to patreon.com/shortbox.
Patreon. Fuck
Yeah.
it. I don't
Yeah,
give a
money.
shit.
Yeah, give us your money.
Money.
Go to patreon.com/shortbox right now or click the link in this episode's show notes to sign up. In the meantime, give us a follow on social media if you aren't part of the bandwagon already. Praise Khonshu, but most importantly, take care of yourselves. Have a great day, and please continue to make mine and yours Shortbox. We'll talk to you soon, all right? Peace.